let's get to it. You see the chart, C major open chord, all in blue notes. We'll get to that. You see in the top left, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C in red. You see the corresponding numbers, C's 1, D's 2, E's 3, and so on. Okay. Bottom left, you see 1 chord C, 4 chord F, 5 chord G. So we're going to think of a chord progression. In this lesson, we're going to just add a bunch of things using C. And then I'll do something over the looper with a C and a G. Stay tuned. Do not leave. You will not progress. All right. So what do we want to do to flow between rhythm and lead lines? Rhythm is king. Rhythm is queen. There's just no denying it. Without that, you have nothing. So we're always going to have this as our home base. So if you're a total beginner, just get this nice, get a flow, pocket. Okay, this is going to ramp up. The ebook's linked below. Hopefully I put chapters in here. Now, one thing before we move forward is you see how these are all in blue notes. Blue circles with white notes on them. But C, E, G, open G, C, and E. Okay? So just C's, E's, and G's. That's how you make a C major triad. Okay, let's go to the next track. Now, here's where it starts to get fun. Up here on the 8th fret, the yellow notes, we have a C major bar chord. C, G, C, E, G, C. Good. We're going to stick with the 1 chord because this is going to get deep, but this is how you do it. Now, what could we do right now rhythmically to go between the open chord and the bar chord? Well, we could do this. Arpeggiated. I can't speak. Arpeggiated. Okay, so right there, that could be something you do. If you just take that away from this lesson, just get a nice groove. You want to build internal rhythm, internal meter, because your biggest goal, what I want for you, is to be able to sit down with the guitar by yourself and in a band or whatever, in a duo, whatever floats your boat, but to have fun. And it's so cool when you can play like the leads and the bass lines and the fills by yourself. And this is what this lesson's about. So open chord to the bar chord, open chord to the bar chord. Okay, now again, just C's, E's, and G's until we add some stuff later. Stay tuned. Next chart. Whoop. Okay. Now all I did here, I do this a ton on the channel. This could be a lesson by itself, but just do this. So you see inside, all I did is for this C major bar chord, I just overlaid the triad, that angular triad. And you guys, you have to add the triads. They're just essential. They're the spine of music, the bones, the glue, okay? They are like the holy grail. I will link a playlist at the end. I'm going through one at a time, all 12 major, and then I'm gonna do minor. This will skyrocket you. All right, so you see that. Here's what you can do. Bar chord to triad. Bar chord, it's all about the rhythm. Bar chord to triad. Arpeggiate the triad to the bar chord, to the open chord, to the bar chord, to the triad. You're keeping that flow. You're staying in the pocket. Now, of course, we can play with the drummer. We can play in our digital audio work system. We can, to like a drummer, we can play to a metro. But what I want you to do is build the internal rhythm. You want that flow, okay? You're going to know when you're falling apart. So if you try and add too much, roll back, okay? So again, okay? Now, one thing I will point out that's another like super important part of being a good rhythm player is you see how my thumb, when it rolls over, okay, this is hard, but you'll get it. When it rolls over for when I hit the triad, I'm just muting out the E and A. So you see this? See that? So if I hit it all, I'm just emphasizing the blue triad, C, E, G, C, E, G, okay? So bar chord, triad, triad to open chord, okay? Hang out there for a bit. Bar chord, triad, okay? You see what we got here. Now, we haven't really added the lead line part yet, but what you could do, get creative. These are just frameworks, ideas. Maybe you arpeggiate the triad, and then you play, I don't know, watch, it's like this. Bar chord, arpeggiate. So you kind of see how I slide back and I slide in when I go from you gotta tighten up your rhythm hand. And there's like this setup move that happens. And that's like so important. It almost needs to be like a name for that rhythmic mood. Drop your ideas. What's a name we should have for that setup move when you go from like a rhythm to a flowing lead, like seamlessly? That's your goal here. That's what this lesson's about, okay? So arpeggiate the open chord to the triad. pick the arpeggiate the open chord or arpeggiate the triad, strum the bar chord. Okay? There we go. Follow me, drop any comments, questions, whatever you got. Hit that like button. For some reason, YouTube's been hard on this channel. They're hard on us. Poor Team Jellyfish. Whoop, next chart. Okay. Again, just so you know, all the information's consistent on the top left and on the bottom left, because we're just going to stick to C today because we'll add F and G later, and that's where you're going to see kind of where we're taking this, all right? Now, what did I do here? I kept everything on there. There's your C open chord. You got your bar chord with that triad. Now, I added 2 more C major triad shapes, because why not? So if you see this one right here, see C and E on the 5th fret on the G and B string, and then you see the G on the high E. So there's a triad, C major triad. Now, what I like about this one on the higher strings, you know, the G, B, and high E, you kind of have to nail it on the upstroke because you can't really get your thumb over to mute out all those. I mean, you could, but... So, for example, C chord to triad, C open to triad, See, you can slide into it, you can break it apart, but it's all about keeping that rhythmic flow. That's the whole thing about this. That's the whole kind of point of this lesson. And then I also added this triad up here. Look, way up here. Your C is rooted on the 15th fret on the A. You got C, E, G. Now you're on the A, D, G string set. And that's why you've got to watch my triad video. So every time I speak in one of these videos, you're going to know exactly musically what I'm saying, because music is the language. C, E, G, okay? So we added this triad, we added this triad, we had this one inside of the bar chord, and then we have our good old open chord, which will always be home, right? All right, now I use this every day in my playing, and it gets so fun. I have to roll back too, because I want to give you more and more, but I don't want your brain to melt. Okay, you feel me? Okay, let's go to the next part. Here's where it starts to get fun. Now, I went ahead and just peeled back this triad up here, okay, on the chart we just left. Again, these are linked in the ebook below. Made them into a nice, tidy ebook for you. You're special, okay? I'm special too, I think. All right, now you see here, what did I add? I added a C major scale, okay? Oops, I totally shanked that, excuse me. And then I added this pink D here. So that's just for fun. Let's do the scale first, and then I'll tell you why I added that pink D. That's just like a little cherry on top. A delicious cupcake for your tiny ear. Now, you see, I still kept this C triad in blue, okay? Because it's inside the bar chord, which is right there, okay? Took away the yellow bar chord. Now, I also put C, E, G here in blue. So you've got So this is almost how you can think like a bass player, okay? So we're just on the E and A string, C, E, G, and then C, E, G here. Then all the other notes, the whole thing, the blue dots and the red dots, that is a C major scale from low E to high E. And this is where you start putting in the lead lines, all right? Now, I don't know what your definition of lead guitar is, but in my head, when I was younger, it was like, yeah, ripping in a pentatonic and da-da-da, but essentially, it's kind of how you look at it. It could be a set part that's a melody. It could be all a riff is, like a killer riff, like Bless Ozzy, but you think of Black Sabbath and their monstrous riffs. Those are just like beautiful melodic lines that are just so rhythmically amazing. That's what you're going for. So what you're going to do here with this is get this scale down. Now you don't have to use the whole thing. You could just use part of it. So practice getting that rhythmically. Now, you can do on this page of the ebook, you could go from the open chord, okay? Now here's the pink D. Okay, so if you take your pinky, because if you're fretting the C open chord like this, what if you just learned this today? Hey, you've came out with something you didn't have before. Throw your pinky down on the B string on the 5th fret. See, there's a delicious cupcake, as I said, for your tasty ears. Wait, delicious cupcake for your tiny ears. With the add 9. So this is a C add 9, okay? C, E, G, and then you add the D, which is the 9, and there you go. So you can practice throwing that in. Okay, now, here's where it's going to get a little bit trickier. What you're going to do is you're going to go from that open chord, see if you can slide into a little rhythmic groove from the C major scale, okay? Don't forget your triads. Those are kind of like your spine. You can weave around those. So let's keep it really simple. What if I just did the C open chord? You can throw the tasty D in there, the add 9 if you want. You don't have to. And then see if you can slide and do something cool with the C, E, G, and the E and A strings like this. Less is more. Like, see how creative you can get just with this C, E, G here out of the scale. Now let's add a little more. Let's ramp it up a tiny bit more. All I did there is throw in some octaves, but I did it right out of the scale, okay? Now I know I could have just left the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and I could have just done it on the E, A, and D strings, and that's fine. So if continuing onward is too much information for you, roll back. Just what I suggest is get as rhythmic as you can out of the scale, then add the open chord, or go from the bar chord that's right there, okay? Listen, when you pick up a guitar neck, there are no colored dots on this. Like, essentially, the way I look at it is when we're beginners or as we're progressing, we have blind spots all over the neck, right? And there's so much on this chart I didn't even put there that's everything's overlaid over everything else. It's just how your teacher has shown you what light bulb moments you've had. I'm just trying to give you more light bulb moments. That's it. So again, get a sick little groove going, little beatbox. Find a little melody you like. Open chord. Shake. I call that jazz. Emphasizing that triad again. See that? People don't realize when you want to start soloing over chord changes or start learning how to do that where you're not stuck in one position, you want to use triads, which is the spine of the chord anyways. Use those to start soloing over it. It doesn't have to be fancy. Heck, man, you could roll in just to the E, let's say out of that triad shape right here, and just bend it. You know, you'd have to have some more harmonic context, which I'll show you on the looper how that works. Okay, you got this. Have you melted yet? Next try. Whoop. All right. Oops, I went the wrong way. Okay, now what we did is we kept everything on there. You got your C open chord. It's always home with your add 9. If you want that little, it's like a little cherry for your ears, okay? You got your scale right here. C to C from low E to high E. You got your triads inside there. You got your little bass line triad. Then you've got this C major scale. Now this isn't really one you're traditionally going to learn because there's that triad shape going blue. C on the 15th fret with my pinky. That's a weird shape. So you're getting like all kinds of different layers in this lesson and you use them how you want. But look, C, okay, start with your pinky on the 15th fret on the A string and just run it C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Essentially, you're just trying to train your brain, okay, and build that muscle memory of how to play the scale like that. Because you know what? 99% of guitar players are shown this pattern right here. And then they're showing it here on the A string, okay? But we're going do. Why not learn it like this? Shank. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay? So what can we do rhythmically here? Now, if you're brave and you're feeling good about how you're pocketing your groove, you could do this open chord. Let me try it. I might totally just spontaneously combust. I might try and slide into a little groove up here in this C major scale, okay? So, hey, not too bad, but again, there's that whatever drop of, what should this be called? That transition between scales, right? Scale your melodic lead lines and chord, like harmony and melody. There should be like a name because That's the whole setup, right? Like, but that's kind of a long movement. But see if you can do this. Just play the C, E, G triad. Okay. I'll link one more video at the end of this one too. I did this crazy lesson on modes, and these are in there, especially this one. Okay, so if you watch that, you're gonna see why I just went ahead and reused this shape. It's a good one. Okay. You hanging in there. You okay? Need some air? I think I need some air. Let's just go to the last chart. Whoop. Okay. Now, this looks crazy. This is everything I just showed you, but just roll back. Just see what you can do with C. What if you just learned the C open chord and how to add the D? You gotta add 9. But we got those other triad shapes on there, right? We got all the C major scales, okay? We got this little tasty, delicious treat for your tiny ears, all right? Now, let's play over a looper pedal, okay? Because in the next couple lessons, I wanna add the 4 chord and the G. We really wanna take it to the next level. So here's like a little progression. Instead of just staying C, I sit here's to do G, okay? Let's start arpeggiating with the triad. Now I was kind of just improvising there, but what's cool is if you have all these anchor points to improv around, that's how you keep progressing. Like, I don't ever want to stay static in my playing. I always have to push myself out of my comfort zone. So like, I'll be honest with you, I haven't used the major scale with the roots starting on the A. This shape, this pattern, I haven't done it a lot, okay? Now I've probably played it inside of other scales. That was inside of E Phrygian. That's why you gotta learn the modes. But do you see what we're getting at here? So just create little grooves for yourself. We're gonna do a live stream soon where we all meet together and we're gonna build a backing track and logic for our community. And let's just do CFG so we can practice jamming over that. But at the end of the day, for example, you wanna be able to sit there with your acoustic, your electric, and go boop. Like that. Delicious cupcakes for your tiny ears. I'm so overusing that. All right, what'd you think? Let me know. If you're new, hit the like button so we can spread this. Like I said, I think YouTube put me in jail for a while. I don't know why. They are not pushing out these videos, but hopefully that helped you. But grab the ebook. It's linked below. Watch the playlist that's here, the video that's here, there, wherever it ends up. Drop Jellyfish or your favorite sea creature in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from, and just don't stop. Okay, we all got a journey. There is no end game to guitar. We're gonna keep this train rolling forever and have fun. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Repetition, rhythm, and that's enough. I've said it. Peace out.